Good evening, guys, and welcome to Facebook Live. This is the 15 Red podcast with me, Graham Drayton, live in Burton-on-Trent at an unusual time of 7 o'clock because we've got a special guest on very, very shortly. That means that it's an hour later for Mike. And luckily, Mike in Vancouver, you rushed here tonight, Mike, to get here on time. I'm glad you did as well.
Yep, did. No problem. It's great to be here again.
Yeah. Problem with your dad's car, wasn't it?
Yeah, he ran the battery a little bit flat, but that's okay. All good.
Oh, dear. What's the weather like at the minute over there?
Absolutely beautiful. Not a cloud in the sky. Warm.
Well, it is chucking down in Burton-on-Trent, I'll let you know. Chucking down. Good evening to Scott in Northern Ireland, Antigavin. And how are you, Scott?
Very well, thank you, Graham. The weather in Northern Ireland has been rather temperamental on this side of the Irish Sea, but no, all well and everybody's healthy this end, so just looking forward to having our guest on.
Yeah, we've got renowned coach Chris Henry coming up, and we're going to get him introduction to the show now. Here we go. So this is our second guest, by the way, so let's invite him on here.
Yes. If he's there, that is.
Oh, he's there.
So Chris Henry, cool. Okay, well, this is live telly, and as you know, things can go wrong with live television. But we're waiting his arrival.
As certain journalists know to their cost.
Yes. Just to mention our special guest, by the way, tomorrow night is Jamie Curtis Barrett, professional snooker player from Cleethorpes, who not recently ago got knocked out of the Gibraltar Open by Mark Allen.
He did.
And on Tuesday, we've got the commentator from Eurosport and ITV4, which I know Scott is so excited about, and me and Mike are also concur with that, is Mr. Dave Hendon. But that won't be live on Facebook. That'll be pre-recorded on Zoom to go live afterwards. So it'll be put on the group afterwards. So that's exciting news, guys.
Yep.
Yes, very exciting. We're looking forward to having Dave on Tuesday, God willing.
Absolutely. I can't wait for that one. Are you, Mike, as well? Concur with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it should be good.
We'll have to brush up on our statistical knowledge for Dave, all right.
Oh yeah.
Oh, boy, yeah. Because he knows his stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, you think I'm an anorak? Dave is like 10 times an anorak.
Just talking about something that I watched earlier on while we were waiting for Chris. I watched the end of the 2011 World's Final when John Higgins beat Judd Trump, and
yes,
Judd sort of messed up at 17-15.
Yes.
Yeah, and then he left that double on that pink for John, and I thought, what a class act John Higgins was to finish that final off the way he did.
Yeah, that's 10 years ago this year, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carry on talking, guys.
So,
what a final that was.
John, I think, of course, it wouldn't be the first time, if John won it this year, it wouldn't be the first time that somebody called Higgins won the World Championship 10 years apart, would it?
No kidding. It also kind of goes back to our conversation too about we haven't shed enough light on Judd Trump. Like, you think back to that final, that was a great final.
Yeah.
And
to be perfectly honest, Judd should have won that.
I agree with you. Absolutely. He should have won that final. No disrespecting
Totally
John.
agree.
Oh, but I mean, Judd Trump played really well in that, and that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago. I was watching it on, like I say, YouTube earlier, and I couldn't believe how good Judd was even then, 2011. And he held John, didn't he? He held John for a while until that last pink when I think he missed the pink, and then John just needed the pink and black. And
yeah,
how
well,
steady-
John needed a snooker actually in that last stream, do you remember?
and how steady was John after potting the pink, doubling it, potting the black? How
'Cause
steady?
that black was tough.
Yeah, it was, but not for Higgins. Not for
No.
Higgins. Anyway, I'll try him again. This, like I say, guys, this is live as we speak.
This is live broadcasting for you.
It is. It does. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it does.
But
Well,
I'll give you a trivia question then while we wait on that 2011 World Final, or that 2011 World Championship. Who did Judd Trump beat in the first round?
Of that tournament,
Yeah.
Mark Allen. That's
No.
a go.
Neil Robertson.
Correct.
Yeah,
Oh.
I got one. I got one.
Because,
But
and
no,
why is that significant? Who was the defending champion in 2000?
Neil Robertson. Neil Robertson.
Exactly.
Ah,
So-
I used to say,
So the Crucible curse.
strikes again. Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, that's another thing I want to know from Chris Henry. Why is it called a Crucible Curse?
yeah, it's just.
I think it's
And
media
why?
driven, really.
And I want to know why as well. Why no one's ever broke it?
Do you think somebody will break it?
Well, as you said, Scott, we hope somebody does soon because we're sick of hearing about it.
Yeah, but unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a first-time winner on the horizon, does there? I know I've said Mark Allen could win it, but
Yeah.
you know he's not among the favourites.
No. Yeah, it could be a while before that's broken. That could be a lasting one.
So we could be tortured for years.
Tortured
Yeah.
for years, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
But
no.
I hope we're not, because so many people have suffered it, haven't they? Steve Davis, Stephen Hendry, and I thought Stephen Hendry wouldn't suffer it, to be fair.
No.
Ken Doherty, John Higgins, Ronnie O'Sullivan. Ronnie O'Sullivan was the bigger surprise.
Yeah.
Mark Selby, Stuart Bingham, not so much, I guess.
John Parrott.
Yeah, John Parrott. Yeah, Alex
You
Higgins.
know,
Joe
you know
Johnson.
who inflicted it on John Parrott?
Who beat it? Like who beat John?
Steve
Parrott?
Davis. Steve Davis.
No. Angles.
Oh, right.
Yes. That's right. He did. Alan McMahon.
Oh, I know why he can't join.
Why?
Invited.
Because I locked it. I locked it.
Oh.
It's been locked.
Dude.
Oh, dear me. Oh, dear me. Sorry, Chris.
Speaking of oh dear me, do you think we could get him? Bill Yates.
Yeah, we can work on it.
Here we go. You ready? Off we go.
Yes.
Yes.
Should be all right now.
Is he there? Oh dear. Oh dear, Graham. Anyway, while we wait, oh, there we go.
There we go. How you doing, guys?
Good evening, Chris. Sorry about that. I did virtually lock the room.
You locked me out, mate. I thought I was welcome. You know. Obviously not as welcome as I thought I was.
Oh,
Good
goodness.
evening. I'll just introduce you to our gang here. So we've got Scott in Northern Ireland with the glasses, and we've got Mike in Vancouver in America down in the blue shirt. Down.
Excellent. Good. Nice to see you guys.
Yeah.
Nice to see you, Chris.
Pardon?
It's good to have you with us.
It's a pleasure for me to be with you.
Thank you. First of all, how's lockdown with you?
Oh well, it's how you deal with it, isn't it? It's lockdown. You know, you just got to go with it, I suppose.
Has it affected your coaching?
Well, I've not been to any live professional golf tournaments. I've only been to one professional snooker tournament, which was the World Championship.
Okay.
So all of the coaching's been virtually online, so it has affected it quite a lot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we've got a few questions for you tonight, and we're going to go first with Mike in Vancouver for you.
Okay.
So Chris, so what got you interested in the science of snooker?
Sorry, I didn't quite get that, Mike.
What got you interested in the science of snooker?
Okay, that was an experience. I was playing in a final on television in Holland many years ago. The tournament was called the Dutch Open. So you've got some good players playing in there from the UK as well. And I did very well in the quarterfinals, did very well in the semi-finals, a couple of century breaks. And the final was televised.
Okay.
And because it was televised, of course, it means so much more because many people are watching. And for the first 2 frames of that final, I literally couldn't hold my cue. I was that nervous.
Okay.
And that fascinated me. Why is this happening? How is it happening? What is going on in my brain to make me feel so anxious and so tense and so nervous? And I wanted to understand a little bit about why that was going on. So that was really the start of my interest in the psychological side, the mental side. And understanding that now, it has such a massive impact on performance. So I went down the neuroscience route a little bit into the amygdala, neural connections, how it all works, why does it make you feel in certain ways, and started to understand that, and then looked at the potential solutions to helping people deal with those situations in a more calm way. And that's what really started the whole thing off.
Ah, fantastic. That's very interesting.
Yeah, so it was a personal experience. I was, I've been through that myself. I played live on television. It wasn't pleasant to start with, but I did manage to start to deal with it. So that was the whole reason why, yeah.
Oh, excellent. So who have you coached? Like, I guess from a snooker standpoint, who have you coached?
Okay. I suppose the first big name was Jimmy White, back in 1996, 97. Then it followed on with Peter Ebdon, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002. And then since then, it moved on to Stephen Hendry, which was 2007, for 5 years. Sean Murphy, now Mike Selby. Quite a lot of players. So I'm currently with Sean Murphy, Mike Selby, and quite a number of other lower ranked players as well.
Oh, that's excellent.
So how did you first start then, like with Jimmy White? You said about yourself in these finals and how things work in the mind of one older people. How did that transpire? How did you transpire that to coaching with Jimmy White and Stephen Hendry?
Well, I was coached when I was 16 years of age by a guy called Frank Callan.
Yeah.
Now, Frank, you've probably heard of Frank Callan.
Yes.
He was a fishmonger, a fisherman from the northwest of England. a very tough character, very straightforward. No, none of this. Everything was sort of straight ahead. But Frank was very, very good on the technical side, the mechanical side. He was very big into golf, but because he had serious knee problems, he started to take more notice and start to study more about snooker.
Okay.
And he went on to coach Steve Davis in the 80s, Stephen Hendry in the 90s. And that was one of the reasons why I got interested in coaching initially.
Yeah.
Because he was sending me around the world doing jobs that he couldn't do because of the time scales.
Yeah.
So I learned so much from Frank about the technical side in terms of grip and bridge and stance and cue position, timing, and then obviously the on-table things like, strategy, shot selection, cue ball control, positional play, break building, etc.
Yeah.
And then what I did was start to combine that knowledge. At the time with Jimmy, it was more about the technical side. It was more about on table.
Okay.
It wasn't too much on the psychological side, which is a pity because at that time that's exactly what he needed. He needed more of the mental approach, being stronger mentally.
Yeah.
Because he was so good on the table, but of course he used to get out of his comfort zone and his performances were seriously negatively affected.
Yeah.
So I had 2 years with Jimmy and it was a real experience.
Jimmy was.
As you can imagine, you know, I'd turn up for coaching sessions and within an hour we'd be down the pub having a pint.
Well,
Jimmy, isn't he?
why does that not surprise me, Chris? Why does that not surprise me?
That's brilliant.
Unbelievable. Now, mate, forget all that, mate. Let's go and get a beer. Let's go and get a beer. Okay, Jimmy.
Oh, bless him.
Why do you think? What was the thing behind why Jimmy never won a world title? Do you think, in your mind?
Well, I think the first one was Stephen Hendry.
Yeah.
So good.
Yes. Or was it too many points?
Well, I think it got to the point where he just didn't believe he was going to win it. I think Stephen was so strong, and Stephen's temperament, that's his biggest asset. He has a very, very good temperament for snooker.
Yeah.
He's also incredibly good at concentrating, is Stephen.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to go to his house in Scotland in Ofterard for 3 or 4 day sessions. And we'd do 6-7 hour sessions and he was just on it all the time. He was like a machine.
Yeah.
Totally dedicated, totally motivated, driven. And a lot of people say, why did he retire so early when he was young? Because he wasn't winning. You know, he just couldn't stand not winning. Like competing wasn't enough. He had to win.
Like Steve Davis in a way, potty machine, built to
Yeah,
win.
exactly. Similar kind of thing. And I think once Steve Davis accepted that somebody had come along that was better than he was, I think it just took away his motivation.
Was you coaching Stephen Hendry through his World Championships, beating Jimmy White at the same time?
No, I was involved with it all because I was with Frank Callan, and Frank Callan was coaching Stephen Hendry.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Frank was coaching Steve, and I was coaching Jimmy. But of course, I was only 30, 31 years of age then. I was just learning my trade, if you like.
Yeah.
But being around Frank at the Crucible and at the UK Championships and at the Masters, watching how he was doing what he was doing, it was an education.
And of course, Scott here in Northern Ireland, Chris. Of course, Frank Callan coached the late Doug Mountjoy at the time of the famous UK win in 88 and then the Mercantile in 89. But I wanted to ask you on a specific question, what have you done with Mark Selby's game? Because he's been transformed.
He's been what, sorry?
Mark's been transformed because there was a couple of years when he wasn't quite at his best, but since he got with you, he's been playing marvelously well again.
Yeah. The first point you made, Doug Mountjoy, that's true with Frank. He transformed Doug's game because Doug was at that time was applying some unintentional side spin and didn't realise it. And when you apply side spin to the cue ball, it basically doesn't travel in the direction you're expecting. And if you're what we call unconsciously incompetent, if you're not aware that something's wrong, and you're getting a poor outcome on a repetitive basis, you get very frustrated.
Yeah.
So Frank, and that was the good thing about Frank. He could fix things in the right way for the individual.
Yeah.
It wasn't a textbook approach for everybody the same. It was an individualized personal approach, and that's the key.
Yeah.
So that's what he did with Doug, and Doug's confidence went through the roof once he understood what he was doing wrong, first of all, and then he was shown how to fix it.
Yeah.
Mark Selby's problem on table was he became visually uncoordinated. So technically very, very good. You probably heard of a product that I launched about a year and a half ago called the Balls.
Oh,
Yeah.
We saw that on the
So
TV.
I sent these balls to Mark Selby, and I said, right, Mark, I want you to hit that white ball from the brown spot into the corner pocket, the black corner pocket.
Yeah.
He could do it 9 out of 10. And that is not easy.
No, of course not.
So that put to bed very quickly his concern that maybe I have a technique problem. But that proved without any shadow of a doubt, and that's the important thing for players, you've got to prove things to these guys.
Yeah.
It's not good me giving an opinion, what I think is my opinion. That's no good.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to clearly prove things to these people. So he could see, right, well, if I can hit a 17-gram cue ball 9 feet dead straight into a corner pocket, I must be striking it really well.
Yeah.
Which he was. But then we put the red ball, the light red ball, on the table, and he couldn't get it in the pocket. He couldn't hit a normal white onto that red to get it into the pocket, which meant that he was visually uncoordinated.
Ah.
Unconsciously, he wasn't aware of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he went through a few weeks of, for example, if he was missing those shots, because that light red, it magnifies your aiming issues. If you're a fraction off, it goes quite wide to the side of the pocket.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't see that with a normal red. You'd still pot the red, but you wouldn't quite see the problem.
Yeah.
So he was missing to the left of the pocket most of the time. Now, one piece of information that bemused him was we don't really see with our eyes. We're seeing with our what we call visual cortex in our brain.
Yeah.
So the eyes, what they're doing, the eyes are focusing, but what they're doing is sending light through a network of cells to the back of your brain, and your brain acts like a projection system. And through repetition, it starts to become habitual vision.
Yes.
But if a player starts to do it slightly incorrectly over a period of time, he starts to aim to miss, and then starts to try to correct his aiming with his technique. Okay.
Well, that brings up an interesting point. I've always watched Mark Selby because he's like that with a cue, but he's like this.
Yeah.
What's all that about?
Well, what's all that about?
Because they always tell you on a shot to keep your head still. And he's like,
well, he doesn't mean to do that. It's just something he does. But actually, that can actually help you find the center of the white when you want to, because you're seeing it from different perspectives. So I think it's just something he's developed over years, and it helps him.
It's just an interesting thing that I watch on Mark.
Yeah, he sways on the shot.
Yeah.
But on the delivery, he's very good. He strikes the ball really well.
Yeah.
But his cue wasn't pointing to the object ball where he thought it was.
Ah, so that was his problem.
Exactly. That was your question. What was the problem? That was the on-table problem. Now, because of that, if you keep missing and you don't know why, guess what happens to your confidence?
It goes right down.
His confidence was just shot at.
Yeah,
because
it goes through the floor.
Work out what the hell was wrong.
Yeah.
So what we had to do was to retrain his visual cortex to relearn to aim properly. That might sound a bit crazy for a former three-time world champion.
Yeah.
sounds like madness. So he's aiming that light red ball now into the right half of the pocket.
Yeah.
But it's going in the middle.
Okay.
It's going in the middle of the pocket, right? So here's the interesting thing. With repetition, you're retraining your visual cortex, and after so many repetitions, you're aiming slightly to the right of the pocket. At a certain point, once everything coordinates, it starts to go to the right.
Yeah.
Right. So now you're re-coordinated, and now the middle of the pocket looks like the middle of the pocket. Absolute madness.
It is crazy. I'm going to keep up with that, Chris. Wow.
That's what's happening to a lot of players. They're aiming to miss the shots, and they don't even know, they're not aware they're aiming to miss. So that was the first point. And then on the second side, we're working on the mental side now.
Yeah.
On something called neural rewiring, which is a way of recalibrating your self-belief, changing your self-belief that actually it is possible. I can do this. And it's a double whammy. It's an on-table and an off-table mental approach, and they're the routines that he's on with now, and it seems to be helping him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the change in his game has been remarkable.
Oh yeah. Just going off that point for a minute, Chris. Why have we got? And I know this probably question's been asked 1,000 times before, and we just want to know from you, really, why is it called a crucible curse, and why is it not been broken?
It's a brilliant question. It's obviously a mental thing. To go back to the crucible for the year after you've won it for the first time, because you've never really been used to that much attention, and everybody's talking about it, and everybody's talking about this curse. So of course you take it on board as well. It's probably not. It won't be possible for me either. But I think
even with the caliber of players that's won it, the quality of players. Stephen Hendry didn't do it. Ronnie O'Sullivan didn't do it. That was a surprise. Steve Davis didn't do it. That was another surprise. And then they go into the next first round and get absolutely tonked.
It's a funny one, isn't it? How to explain that is not easy, but I think it's obviously it's an expectancy thing as well. You're going back to the crucible and you're dying to sort of prove to everybody that you can, you weren't a one-hit wonder, because obviously at that stage you've only won it once.
Yeah.
So I think they just put a lot of expectancy on their own on themselves, and it creates anxiety and tension.
Yeah. Well, from a coaching point of view, and they're all up to the World Championship, do players talk about it? Do players that you've coached and have won it for the first time, do they talk about it?
They do talk about it. That's the problem. They should shut up. Just go there and pop the balls and, turn the TV off. Don't read the newspapers. Don't listen to anybody. Just, it's not easy.
No.
Yeah.
So do your techniques apply to other sports and other ventures in life, like business and stuff, or is it strictly snooker?
Yeah, I do a lot of corporate training.
Oh yeah.
I do seminars. I do lots of different things on the mental side. It's a combination of personal development and what I term a neuroscience approach to the subconscious performance aspect.
Oh.
Yeah, how you're actually performing and doing things properly.
Exactly. That's right. But most of the, you see, it's a little bit, the way I describe it, it's a little bit like when you first learn to drive a car. You don't have the software in here to drive that car, so you're all over the place. You're doing the gears and the clutch and the gas, and the car is going like this, and your coordination's nowhere. And then literally a few months down the road, you can get in the car, drive for 1 hour. You don't remember the journey. It all happened by habit. You were thinking about something else, and you arrived there perfectly safe. And you went, wow, I don't remember that journey.
Yeah.
Right? And the reason for that is, through repetition, every time you repeat something, you create neural connections in your brain. And once you've got enough of those connections, it becomes a habit.
Oh, okay.
So the goal is to create really good habits, technically, visually, and mentally. And if you can get those three things in a good place, it's very powerful. And the reason one of the reasons I came up with the bowls was I've been involved in professional golf, and it's such a technical sport, and there's so many different products and aids and coaching things that they use. And I thought there must be something for snooker. And when I realised people like Johnny Wilkinson, the kicker, England rugby player, what they were doing with him, they had this little target in the middle of the goalposts. So you had the goalposts here and a small target right in the middle. Now he had to keep kicking that ball, not through the goalposts, at that small little target. So that's called tolerance.
Even in the last minute of a World Cup final.
Well, exactly. And the thing is, because you're practicing inside a small tolerance, and you're habitualizing being good in that tolerance.
Yes.
Even if you fall outside that tolerance slightly, you're still within the tolerance required to perform well.
Yeah.
And that's what the bowls are for. It's a tight tolerance repetition practice.
Okay.
Is that why a lot of snooker players play golf?
I think so. I think golf and snooker are very similar due to the fact that it's a dead ball sport. There's time to think. You know, it's a similar kind of thing. It's a little bit more physical than snooker, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of similarities with golf and snooker, for sure.
I just wanted to find out about Peter Ebdon, how you changed his game to become world champion. Because he said in his interview, without Chris, I don't think I'd have ever won this tournament.
Wow, well, that's a compliment, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why we get involved in coaching. That's why we do it. When you hear that. Okay, the first thing with Peter was he was very left eye sighted. His technique mechanic was not straight, it's left to right, so he cues offline. Stephen Hendry, very similar. John Higgins, left to right, pretty similar. Ronnie O'Sullivan, slightly left to right. Neil Robertson, very straight.
Yeah, very straight.
Judd Trump from one postcode to another.
I know. I've often said about Judd Trump's technique. If you were teaching youngsters, you wouldn't tell them to watch Judd, would you?
He's the last one you'd recommend. Exactly. But I've actually, and this is the contention I have with all the coaches and the coaching books, that you have to learn to cue straight. You don't have to learn to cue straight.
No.
You have to learn to strike that cue ball where intended.
Yes.
And Judd Trump, even though he starts to the right and cues to the left, he can strike the ball where intended.
Yeah.
When he's feeling calm, when he's relaxed.
Yes, of course.
When the pressure comes on and he starts to feel a bit anxious and tense, that's when he can start missing.
I know.
Because the timing changes, the timing of the shot changes, and he struggles with that.
Yeah.
But the only problem is you've got to get him under pressure in the first place.
That's very difficult.
Yeah.
Poor
So,
Jack
with
Lazowski can't do
Peter, Graham, with Peter, he had a bit of a short technique and he was very quick. So we lengthened his backswing slightly, so that he could reduce his acceleration speed towards the cue ball. And what that does is when you play with little bits of side spin, the reduced acceleration, because you're a little bit longer, so your acceleration's a little bit slower.
Yeah.
It keeps the cue ball slightly straighter. So it became more consistently technically. But we created a massive belief system through tricking the subconscious into believing something, which is what we do.
Yeah.
He could become world champion. And one of his routines was to visualize being at the Crucible in that final, having the chance to win, and trying to recreate that atmosphere.
Yeah.
How was he feeling during them last moments of that final with Stephen Hendry? Did you get to know how his mind was?
He said he just felt that he was going to win. Maybe because he'd created this self-belief that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And interestingly, in all those visualization sessions, it was always Stephen Hendry that he was playing in the final. incredible.
Yeah, because
Yes.
remember they played in the World Final in 1996, so we did have experience of playing Stephen in a World Final. So
That's right. He'd already been there. Stephen beat him quite comfortably, didn't he?
yeah, 1812 it was.
1812, was it?
Yeah.
Now,
You're a
Scottsdale
bit of an Amorite there in Northern Ireland, aren't you?
Yeah.
He is.
That's why we've got Dave Hendon on next week.
Dave Hendon, yeah. He's brilliant.
Right.
We're looking forward to that one.
Yeah, he's great for snooker, Dave. He's fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
you've got Dave, and then you've got the real Amorite, which is Phil Yates. My
Yeah.
God.
We'll have to try and get hold of Phil.
Yeah.
Oh, you should get hold of Phil. He's incredible.
Have you got a contact for him?
There you go.
I don't, but I can get it. I'll get it if I can get it for you.
Oh, thank you. That would be great.
Yeah.
So with Peter then, in that, like you say, in that final, did you believe that he was going to win that World Championship that year?
Well, you know, I don't like the word being realistic because being realistic puts the dampers on things. But you're playing Stephen Hendry. His slippers are under the table. It's his living room. He feels that comfortable there. It's a joke.
I love your analogy of that, Chris. It's brilliant.
And you're thinking, can Peter actually get into a position where he's calm enough to be able to win this final? I mean, it was that final frame. I had Peter's wife holding one hand, I had his daughter holding my other hand, and they were both shaking like a leaf watching the final frame. No.
Yeah, because it went the full 35 frames. That did.
Yeah, 17-17. Oh.
When he missed that black at 17-16, that final black.
Well, then you're thinking, well, I'll tell you what, he'll do bloody well to win now.
Yeah, you did think that, didn't you? How did he consciously put that black out of his mind in that final frame?
Well, exactly. The thing is, I think in that situation, it's one frame. I've got a chance now. It's one frame to be world champion.
Yeah.
So I think that helps. If it had been 12-12 or 13-13 or something, and then you missed that, it could have played on your mind a lot because it was only one more frame.
Was that just pressure why he missed that black? Was that just like a?
Well, he was only thinking about position for the red. He already took for granted the black. And he literally didn't aim the black. He just hit it. And as soon as he hit it, he said, as soon as I hit it, I realised that I'd done it wrong.
And then the expression on his face is just, he's like...
Yeah, because he arched his back and, yeah.
It was amazing. And then, of course, in the final frame, he made a brilliant break, didn't he?
He did.
He was marvellous. He was superb.
Although Hendry had the first chances in that frame.
He did. He missed that long blue.
Yeah.
Peter was missing red with check side. And there was a Willie Thorne said in commentary, bless him, he said, why is he playing with check side? He's putting a lot of them with pace, but he's playing in check side.
I don't know why. I don't think he knows why himself. I mean, the pressure obviously is going to be massive, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Unbelievable.
I know. Like, can you believe, Chris, that's 19 years ago?
That's 2019 years ago. Wow, it's incredible, isn't it? Yeah. It's amazing how time does fly, doesn't it?
I know.
Did you work with Peter the following year?
I worked with Peter. I worked with Peter for about 2 or 3 months in the next season, and then he said, "Right, I want to have a period of time on my own now, just to sort of try things out." Yeah. So that's what he did.
Of course, he went to the Crucible the next year, and he lost in the quarters to the late Paul Hunter, actually.
Well, I'm sure you. I thought you might know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it Paul Hunter?
Yeah.
And what did you think then Ronnie Ebden goes on to annoy Ronnie O'Sullivan a bit, doesn't he, by making that break of 12 in 5 minutes? Really
terrible.
What was this, in your view, what was the psychological battle going on there? Was he trying to just keep Ronnie quiet?
The problem is Ronnie's winding people up all the time. He's swearing as he comes back to his effing and shitting, and he's constantly just annoying people.
Wow. Okay.
He did it to Ding last year. I mean, every time he sat down, he was saying all kinds of stuff. Every time he sat down, you idiot, you're useless. Yeah. He just gets in people's heads.
Yeah.
That's why he said that to Mark Allen at Champions last year.
Wow, that was ridiculous. Mark Allen did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Mark Allen was Mark. I'll tell you what. How determined was Mark Allen to clear that table then?
That was.
So, you know what?
Right.
I was cheering him on. I thought, you know what? After that's a disgrace what Ronnie's just done there.
Right.
I wanted Mark to clear up and win that match then.
Like, I may be biased being from Northern Ireland, but you see that night, I was watching it in bed, I nearly fell out of bed.
Listen, I know Ronnie personally. I know him very well.
Yeah.
And he's a brilliant guy. You know, he's fantastic, superb, but he's a competitor. You know, and when you're so competitive, you sometimes try too hard to win.
Yeah. It does.
Incredible player.
What do you think to all that in your eye line business? Like Anthony McGill, it happened with him and Jamie Clark. What's your take?
Well, it wasn't as big as the one that Ronnie did to Selby in the semi-final last year.
Yeah.
True.
Just smashing the balls around. Like.
He stood up just as he was striking.
Oh, yeah.
At 17, at 6, what was it? 16-14 it was.
Yeah, 16-14. Then he comes out, 138 breaking the next friggin'.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Astonishing.
Are you sure your name's not Phil Yates?
It's probably secret.
So,
Chris.
I think this standing in the line, I just think it's I think it happens quite a lot without players realising what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a few of them who are at it basically.
Yeah. So how do you think? Why is Ronnie 0-4 in finals this season? Is it something that's bothering their head? Because we've been wondering this all season. He gets to the final and then he loses. He doesn't show up. It seems like he gets massively outplayed.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few finals where he's not just lost, but he's lost heavily, hasn't he?
That's it. Is it something wrong, or is it just in his head? Or is he just
It's got to be a mental thing, one way or another.
Yeah.
I mean, he's playing brilliant snooker.
Yeah.
But the big thing we talk about in sports psychology and neuroscience is self-belief.
Yeah.
Is his self-belief at the level that it was 5 years ago? I don't think so.
No, it's not.
You know, and so when your self-belief isn't where it needs to be, you doubt yourself.
You do.
Because
And what you normally do is you bull up the other players more as well. I mean, what he needs to stop saying is how great everybody else is, and his Eurosport commentary.
I think he needs to give the Eurosport stuff up.
Yeah, he just. You know, if I was a professional snooker player, I wouldn't be on Eurosport if I was competing.
No. Why did he get knocked out? But
it's ridiculous. You shouldn't be talking about other players.
Why is he? I mean, he's been in that 2 finals recently. The one Jordan Brown won. Jordan Brown beat him on that final frame, and I think Ronnie was the overriding favourite. Maybe put pressure on him. But then in the Higgins final, he just put himself under a lot of pressure because he said, "Oh, Higgins was playing better than me, and I knew how to play well," and he couldn't match him.
Couldn't match him. Well, John was exceptional, wasn't he? John Higgins was brilliant.
He was very good.
And I think even if I think about it, I think Mark Selby beat him in the Scottish final, didn't he?
9-3 that was.
I was just about to ask you what the score was. 9-3.
Yeah.
So again, you're right. There's something in here, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
Self-belief. I think it's affected.
Yeah. Can they tie Stephen Hendry's record of Crucible this year?
No. Well, the best chance he has if there's no crowd,
Yeah.
because what that does for Ronnie, it means he can be in and around the venue,
Yeah.
and he's not getting any hassle.
Ah.
So it just helps him to keep nice and chilled, and that's what helped him last year.
Yeah.
Although I would say at 16-14 against Selby, it was like he'd almost given up, and he was just smashing balls around the table. They just seemed to keep going safe.
Playing without any pressure, I guess.
Yeah, he'd given up and whatever sort of thing. And I think a venue that doesn't have a crowd is a good thing for Ronnie O'Sullivan, because it helps him to sort of stay calm.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that's autographs, selfies, never stops.
Yeah.
Who's
And that's
the
got to get to you.
Chris, who's the best player that you've ever worked with or seen in your career?
Stephen Hendry.
Straight out. Yeah. No hesitation. That was it, straight out.
Well, the thing is, as well, is I have about 30 different shot routines. So these are specific template stock shot routines that cover long potting, safety, cushion, rest, cue ball control, all kinds of different aspects, and he was just good at all of them. He was fantastic. So I would say, so far, Hendry was special.
But how do you win 5 world titles in a row?
That's crazy, isn't it?
See, that comes back to the Crucible curse, doesn't it? They can do it the year after they've won it, but not the straight year.
I know, it's a funny one, isn't it?
It is strange. And do you think it will be broken one day? Do you think someone will break it?
Oh yeah, at some point someone's going to do it. I would imagine so. Yeah. And the other point as well, I don't know if you saw my Facebook yesterday. I put a post on when I was meeting Tom Watson, the golf player.
Yeah, I saw that. Good one.
And we were talking about the psychological side of golf. And at 59 years of age, he should have won the Open.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which tells me there's absolutely no reason why, if some of these good players like Higgins and Ronnie and Williams, if they keep, they look after themselves, there's no reason why they can't be competing big time in their 50s.
Yeah.
Snooker's not that physical. It's mostly here and technical.
Yeah, I know.
So it's going to be interesting to see in the next few years if somebody can do that. I know Ray Reardon won a world ranking tournament at 50.
Yeah, 1983 that was.
I think I'm not going to argue with you on that one.
But by the way, I'll throw a question at you, Chris. Who was Hendry's Crucible curse player?
Was it a fellow Scot?
No.
Dear me.
That's a tough question, man.
It'll have been a lower ranked player, wouldn't it? Obviously, quite low.
Yeah.
I'll give you his initials. S.J.
Steve James.
Correct.
Yeah.
Really?
There's
Yeah.
a name from the past.
The Dudley Devil.
They do.
Good player,
Yes.
very good player, Steve James was.
Yeah, 13-11 in the quarters in 91.
Was it 13-11? Wow. He was a good player, Steve James.
He was.
But again, I think confidence and self-belief was probably lacking at the level that it was required.
Mental side of things again, you see.
Yeah, the mental side in sport is huge, especially with dead ball sports when you've got time to think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So what advice would you give to people who's taking up the game now, beginners?
Well, develop the first 2 big habits, first of all, and don't go textbook. You've got to find a way that works for you personally.
Yeah.
Everybody does it different. Habitualize being able to strike the cue ball where intended. If you want to hit middle, you can. If you want to play with some left, you can. If you want to play with some right, you can. And a lot of players can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And habitualize and coordinate your visual, your aiming with that. And once you develop those 2 keys, you're on the right track then.
Okay.
But you've got to be able to do those 2 by habit without having to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
That takes a lot of effective repetition to do that. So get those two things right.
So what's the next thing for you, Chris? Are you going? You'll be at the World Championships this year, won't you?
Yeah, I'm working with a number of players. I've just signed a deal with Ryan Day.
Oh, yeah, my outside favourite. I do
Well,
like Ryan Day.
We're going to be doing some mental work with Ryan. He's pretty good technically, so that's all good. So we're going to be working with some confidence and self-belief stuff.
Yeah.
World Snooker Championship will be my venue. I'll be going to that one in April.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my next focus, if you like. Obviously, there's the Tour Championship.
Yeah.
But I'm actually based in Bruges, in Belgium.
Ah.
Okay.
So travelling at the moment, it's not the easiest. It's it's COVID tests, it's quarantine for 10 days. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wait for the World and then get over a little bit earlier, do a bit of quarantining. Well, think about it, but I will do some.
Yeah.
Do you think, like you said earlier about the lockdown, crowds, no crowds? Do you think the standard is high without crowd or with?
I think there's a number of players that benefit from not having crowds.
Some of them being the obvious example, of course.
He's one of them. But some of the lower ranked players that are not used to big crowds, and when they go into these big arenas, it frightens them to death. Because when you've got a crowd roaring and cheering, that's a big thing to deal with.
Yeah.
So actually, and that's probably one of the reasons why you've seen a few upset results in recent times, is that it's almost like a practice room.
Yeah.
It's just two players and a referee.
Yeah.
And you're going to get used to that pretty quickly. So there's less distraction. There's less getting out your comfort zone because of the crowds. And I think it closes the gap between the top and the lower ranked players even more.
Yeah.
Because of it.
Here's a question from a Northern Irishman then. Would Jordan Brown have won the Welsh with a crowd?
Possibly not.
I don't think so.
Possibly not. He did brilliant. He did fantastic. He played really well. Although maybe Selby probably should have beat him. He missed that black into the middle.
Yeah.
Reminiscence of Stephen Hendry in the Masters.
Well, he was dead straight, so he had to play it slowly.
Yeah.
And he said the white just turned towards the end and it hit the left shot. Anyway, whatever. So the answer to the question is the likelihood of Jordan winning the tournament with big crowds in there would be less than if it wasn't.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But you can't argue. He did what he had to do. And you know what? And I was absolutely delighted for him. Fantastic for him, that.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking from a local point of view in Northern Ireland, our papers went mad for, our sports pages went mad for a couple of days.
Oh, well, that's great, isn't it? It's fantastic. I mean, I grew up with a very strange Northern Irishman. When I was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I was pulling balls out for Alex.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a guy called John McLaughlin was his manager, and he brought him over to Lancashire.
Yes.
And he spent a lot of time in the areas of Blackburn, Accrington, and that's where I grew up.
Yes.
So the elite snooker club in Accrington was where Alex spent a lot of his time. And that's how I got to know Alex when I was very young.
Yeah.
So
Picking balls out for Alex, that would have been the experience.
Oh my God.
And his break, that 69 break against Jimmy, remains the best break ever.
Well, it was the best and the worst because his cue ball was terrible.
Yeah. Off the scale.
But some of the pots were just phenomenal.
Yeah.
That blew. How did you get that much spin on the ball?
I don't know how he potted it because his head hit the cameraman on the left.
Oh dear.
Yeah. And
so I grew up with Alex, and Alex was very intelligent, very articulate, lovely fella.
Yeah.
But as soon as he started to drink, His personality completely changed.
Yeah.
He used to get nasty and aggressive, and it's a shame because
Well,
it's a shame.
I mean, he had
all I
to
have to
be
say
proactive.
is UK Championship 1986
What
when he
happened there?
headbutted the tournament director.
By the way, these are the ones that you heard about.
Yeah. Yeah. But he had a unique cue action, didn't he? Where he just used to go like whack it. How did he just
Well,
the ball?
He held his cue like this
Yeah, he did.
with his finger down. But the thing is, you see, a lot of people say he had a terrible technique, but we've done a lot of studies on cue ball striking.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when a cue hits a cue ball with power and you follow through, the cue ball leaves the tip after only 3 millimeters.
Ah.
So, provided you are good at striking where intended, and for a very short distance, your follow through's fine, you get away with it. And that's how Alex used to get away with it. I mean, he'd be lifting and flicking and jumping around, but he used to time the ball unbelievably.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, he had an unusual technique. It was short, it was quick, it was jabby. He lifted his head, he did everything wrong. He did everything wrong.
But he got away with it because
He did everything wrong, but it was right.
Well, he
Straight
did
away.
everything wrong according to the textbook, but he won 2 world titles. So, I mean, let's all do it wrong.
Yeah.
I know.
Here's a question that Foldsy asked on telly the other day. Well, he was basically saying that Mark Allen might have a shot at the World Championships. Do you think that's right?
Mike, who?
Mark Allen.
Mark Allen.
Listen, you know I work with Sean Murphy, and I'm doing a bit of work with Fergal O'Brien,
Okay.
and they go up to Northern Ireland quite regularly to practice with Mark.
Well, they did before lockdown, obviously.
Well, it's easing a little bit the last few weeks, so it's been a bit easier. And they both say he's probably the best practice player they've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh,
He'll make 8, 9, 10, 11 centuries in a day.
oh, wow.
Mm.
You know, he'll have 4 or 5 maximums in a week.
Wow.
He's that good. He's unreal. He's so good. But,
I think,
of course, it has to be a mental, emotional thing in tournament play that holds him back a little bit.
Yeah.
like, one Crucible semi-final, and that was 2009. So, you know,
Right.
there's got to
Who
be
did he play?
something. What?
2009 is the last time he got to the semis.
Yeah. He
Well,
lost his job.
that doesn't sound right, does it?
No,
No, it doesn't.
no.
Well, it's a bit like I've just recently sent a proposal to Rory McIlroy's manager.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Rory McIlroy is a phenomenal golf player,
Yeah.
Superb.
unreal, and he hasn't won a major. That's 4 times in a year you've got a chance to win a major.
Since
He
the
hasn't won a major in nearly
US
6, he hasn't won a major in nearly 6 years.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That's like that doesn't sound right, does it?
No, that must be psychological, though.
Well, of course it is.
Yeah.
It is. It's the same with Mark Allen. It's mental. It's a mental thing.
Yeah.
It's belief. It's confidence. It's
To be
All
fair,
that talent, all that ability not coming through. It just, I don't know.
to be
well,
fair.
in neuroscience, what we say is, you know, you've got results that come from performance.
Yeah.
You've got performance that mainly comes from your emotional state,
Yeah.
being calm and relaxed.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
He can be quite a volatile character, Mark, at times.
I like Mark Allen because he's very straight. He's a
So do I.
typical Northern Irishman, straight as an arrow.
Yeah. We're pretty well known for that, I have to say.
I
We're pretty
know.
well known for that.
Well,
Yeah.
my family all originate from the southern Ireland. We originate from Mayo and Dublin
Yes.
Yeah.
about 3 generations ago.
Yeah.
So I'm very much into the Irish culture and mentality.
Yeah, you're.
And the Northern Irish are known to be very straight ahead, no messing around, say it
Yeah.
as it is. And
Yeah.
that's how Mark Allen is.
Yeah. But you go back to the players that Mark Allen beat to win that Champion of Champions.
Oh,
Scott
yeah.
Donaldson.
Yeah.
Scott Donaldson in the first round. Then Judd Trump,
What
Ronnie O'Sullivan, and Neil
score
Roberts.
was the match against Scott Donaldson? What was the score?
4-2 that was.
You won't catch him out, Chris. You will
We're
do.
going to catch you out.
How the hell do you sleep?
Although Mike did with a question. What question did you catch him out with, Mike?
I called him
What
out.
year did Bingham win the World
Amateur.
Amateur?
Yeah.
Susie
Oh,
player.
Jesus Christ.
And he didn't know.
Wow. I'm glad you didn't know that one. So yeah, the Irish thing. I'm very, very unfair with the Irish thing. You know, I know what the thing is. But Mark Allen is, and it's no coincidence that Jordan Brown's just done what he's done, because you do become like the people you spend time with,
Yeah, yeah.
and the learning and the experience that he's getting by practicing against Mark Allen is unreal,
Of course.
Yeah.
massive.
Unbelievable. I was
So
just going to ask you on the golf front, Chris. How is Tiger Woods doing? Do you know anything?
He's going to be okay. He'll be fine. I reckon it's going to be next season when he'll be playing again.
Okay.
But he'll be back. He'll be back playing, Tiger. No problem.
He's recovering well. Yeah.
He's recovering very well. Yeah.
Good. Good. It's good news.
Yeah. What a character he is, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Extraordinary.
Yeah, they're all saying, what a nightmare, Tiger. What are you doing all those years ago with all these world-class women? I mean, come on, guys. Disastrous.
Oh,
Because they're all jealous.
yeah.
Oh dear. Chris, pleasure to have you on.
It's been my pleasure. And if you want to do something again in the future, Graham, just let me know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mike's got some snap questions for you though.
I was going to ask you, Chris. Do you do like coaching stuff outside of the UK, like in Canada or North America, US?
Yeah, so I have a couple of clients in the US, and I've got a client in New York who's a stock trader.
Oh, okay.
So I've been over to the US many times the last 2 or 3 years.
Oh,
But
okay.
now, don't take this the wrong way, but I've never been to Canada.
Oh no, that's fine. So if someone wants to contact you, how do they contact? Or
Well, you can just go through our website, chrishenrysports.com.
perfect.
If you go through that, you can contact us anytime. That's not a problem. But I am very close with Cliff Thorburn.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. He's
And Cliff's talking about me going over there doing a snooker coaching course
Yeah. Oh, okay.
to teach people how to teach. And I'm going to be doing one in New York. I think it's in November.
Oh yeah.
The first ever North American snooker coaching course, level 1.
Okay.
Because
Fantastic.
snooker is now starting to get a little bit of a foothold in North America. Well, obviously in Canada it's been massive for years.
Yeah, it's Daddy's died out the last while.
But in actually in America itself, the problem for the Americans is the table's too big, the pockets are too small, it's too difficult.
And they're out of shape. Doesn't look good.
Yeah, the Americans are all under 9 ball, aren't they?
That's right, they all play pool. So we've actually got an idea of how to launch snooker into America. We're looking at that project now.
Oh,
To get American people to be able to play it, first of all, and to enjoy the rules and the different way of playing.
perfect.
So in terms of Canada, in the next 2 years, I will definitely be going to Canada anyway.
Fantastic. Great stuff. Hope you come to Vancouver.
You're in Vancouver, are you?
Yeah, Vancouver.
Well, I've heard it's beautiful there, yeah.
Yeah, come visit, man. Come hang out. It'd be great.
That's,
There's
listen,
lots of courses here. I'm sure you.
if you send me an email to Chris at chrishenrysports.com.
Yep.
We'll stay in contact.
Perfect. I'll definitely send you an email. We'll keep in
I'll
contact.
reply, and then I'll give you my number, and we can get on WhatsApp and whatever.
And what do you do outside of coaching, Chris? What's your hobbies?
I play the piano.
Oh, right, okay. I'm a guitar man myself.
Oh, nice. I keep myself fit. I do a bit of running.
Yeah.
Okay.
So love music, love films, love studying. I do a lot of studying. I do a lot of trying to sort of learn much more and more about what I'm doing, you know. So I do a lot of, I don't read books. I listen to books.
Uh-huh.
I do the Audible stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a brilliant service called Mentor Box. Have you heard of that?
No.
Mentor Box is a guy who, what he does, he interviews all the people that write books.
Right.
And in a 20-minute, half an hour slot, he gets all the juice out of these writers about their book. So,
Wow.
you listen to their, and you learn so much in a short space of time. It's brilliant. Mentor Box, about something like, I don't know, £10 or £15 a month or something.
So
But
it's that question then, Chris. What's your favourite movie?
My favourite movie, my goodness, that's a good question. There's so many good movies. You know, let me think. Oh, favourite movie. What's the one? I'm trying to think of the name now. Brilliant film. Gladiator.
All right, Russell Crowe.
Green Mile.
Oh, brilliant film, yeah. Tom Hanks.
Shawshank Redemption.
Yes. Oh, they're brilliant.
That kind of, I love the inspiring, you know, that kind of stuff.
You ever seen? You must have seen Escape from Alcatraz, the Clint Eastwood.
Which one?
Escape from Alcatraz, Clint Eastwood.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
I've got so many films out. I love watching. Yeah, but the thing is, I don't want to watch too much television because I think, for me, it's a bit of a waste of time. We have an opinion. Why spend so much time watching everybody else become millionaires when you can become a millionaire yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Favourite musical artist to go to?
Sorry?
Music artist.
I've been to a lot of concerts. I've been to Elton John.
Okay.
Lionel Richie. I've been to Michael Jackson in the 80s. That was amazing. That was amazing. That concert.
Mm-hmm.
The bad concert at Wembley.
Oh yeah, he was at the height then when he was.
That's what he was amazing. Whitney Houston, Billy Joel.
How did Michael Jackson dance like he did? The coordination he had.
Phenomenal. Well, I mean, when you think about I know there's lots of bad stories about the guy, but I mean, when you look at him, he wrote a lot of the stuff, he sang it, he danced to it, he produced video movies.
Yeah,
he was a genius. The guy was something special, and there's nobody anywhere come anywhere close to him ever since.
No.
I agree in that sense.
But I like classical music, like Mozart, Vivaldi, that sort of stuff. I like.
Now that's more my thing, Chris. I have to say.
Yeah, we go to Salzburg and Vienna once every year to watch some concerts.
Oh, that would be good.
We watch a little bit of opera, and we watch at least a couple of live Mozart concerts.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's just nice to do that, and they're beautiful cities, by the way. Vienna and Salzburg are just unreal.
Yeah.
But I have 3 daughters, so I hear a lot of modern music as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the Rihanna, the Beyonce, and the whining cats, I call them.
Yeah.
What's your favourite car to drive, or what car do you drive?
Right. Well, my favourite car was a car that I actually managed to buy.
Oh, nice.
And I drove it for 17 years every day. And it was the highest mileage Porsche Carrera 964 RS there's ever been. So I bought that car in 1999 off my sister, would you believe? For 25 grand.
Wow.
and I sold it for 6 times more than that 17 years later.
Wow.
Dear.
Yeah, the value. I like Porsche. I like. I don't have a Porsche at the moment. I'm just driving a Mazda, a volume car.
Yeah.
But I might treat myself to something like a little Boxster or something like that. I'd like to try a mid-engine car with a bit more balance. But I like, BMs, Mercs, There's so many good cars, isn't there now?
Oh yeah.
I mean, are there any bad cars anymore?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, they're all decent, aren't they?
Like I have a Volkswagen for like my wheelchair and things, and it's absolutely marvelous.
Is it? You're in a wheelchair, are you?
Yes, yes.
Do you play snooker?
No, I haven't played it, but I have been to the Crucible in 2012.
Oh, right, okay, right. Did you enjoy it?
I did, and then I went to the Northern Ireland Open the year Williams won it in 2017 in Belfast. It was brilliant.
They've got a nice little area, haven't they, at the Crucible for wheelchairs? Brilliant position.
Yeah, superb stuff.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
match wasn't terribly good. It was Henry against Higgins. It was, that 2012, the one before Henry retired.
Yeah, well, I was coaching Stephen that year. I think he had a 147 in the previous round, didn't he, against Bingham?
He did.
Yes, he did.
Playing with my cue specification, by the way.
You took the royalties for that one, Chris. What do you make of his comeback?
If it's something that he wants to do and he can get some pleasure out of it, because he's bored, I think, a little bit, and he's missing the competitiveness. Back in 2012, etc., it was all about winning.
Yes.
I think that's changed dramatically for him now. I think he just wants to get back in the arena, get that buzz, enjoy himself, and if he can start to win a few matches, I think he'll just love it.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to set his goals too high, because
No.
if you think about it, there's too many darn good players out there now, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's still in contact with Stephen Hendry or Peter?
Oh
O'Toole?
yeah, we're very good friends. We're very close friends. Yeah. Yeah, I speak to him quite regularly. And in fact, I'm coaching one of his best friends, which is Matt Selt.
Matt,
The fellow that just beat him in Gibraltar.
Pardon?
The fellow that just beat him in Gibraltar, of course.
Yeah, that's true. Do you know, unfortunately for Stephen, that's probably Matt Selt's best match in his career.
Yeah.
The only frame he won, he made a century break.
Yeah.
Is he an improving player, Matt Selt? Isn't he quite mature?
Well, he's improving because he's starting to get more comfortable in there.
Mm.
Yeah.
And he's another one, without the crowds, he'd probably benefit from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's certain players with certain personalities and characters that don't necessarily deal with a big packed audience. And these are the guys that will do and benefit from this lockdown and no crowds.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. I think when the crowds come back, you're going to start seeing normal kinds of results again.
Good point. Yeah.
I think so. I think that's probably what's going to happen. Because the guys, yeah.
And just a quick thought. What's your thoughts on snooker shootout? Should it be a ranking event or not?
No. It shouldn't be a ranking event. It should be an invitation event. But it definitely has to be on. It should be there. It's brilliant.
I think it's great for the lower ranked players, definitely.
It's good fun. It's a bit of fun. It's great for TV. It's good for the crowds. When the crowds are in, it's just like being in a darts match.
Yeah.
But you can't have a one-frame shootout with a time clock as a bloody ranking event. I mean, look at Mark Selby. Mark Selby's very disappointing now, because in his previous 11 finals, he won his previous 11 finals.
Yeah, he would have broken Stephen's record if he won that.
Yeah.
It would have, and so because he lost in the final of the shootout, that record, that run's now been deleted.
Yeah.
So it's a shame, that, really.
Yeah.
So based on things like that, I would say you shouldn't really have it as a ranking event.
No, of course you shouldn't.
It's a bit too,
On the other hand, though, for the lower ranked players, the 120 players or the 110,
Brilliant.
fantastic for them to try and beat the top players in a 10-minute frame.
Exactly.
And
Yeah, but,
given
I mean,
you are going to be working with Ryan Day,
Yeah, that's good
Yeah.
news. That.
yeah, it's going to be an interesting journey, that one. Yeah, I think it's going to be. Ryan's a very, very talented player.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
Might become world champion yet, Chris.
Well, if he can just get his confidence high and his self-belief strong.
Well, he
Like
was
anybody,
he had
like
a
anybody.
former world number 6, so you know.
Yeah, he's a great player.
Yeah.
Brilliant player, yeah. So we'll see. It's see the great thing for me is I'm doing what I love doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
My work is my hobby, if you like.
Yeah.
So I'm quite fortunate. I mean, I did say when I was younger that I wanted to do something that I really enjoyed, and I think if you can find that and do that,
Yeah.
first of all, you do a good job at it because it's not like work. You just do it.
Yeah. You could
You
throw
know-
Ryan Day our way, Chris. That'd be great.
Well, he's just received a set of the balls yesterday, so tomorrow's session will be a little bit of an experimental hour to see what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be very interesting, yeah.
What
But
do
yeah,
you
it's,
think of the key points of Ryan's technique then? Have you had much of a chance to get a look at it?
well, I'm not a big believer in the aesthetics and how a technique necessarily looks. I'm more interested in how it actually works.
Yeah.
Again, I always come back to, can you strike where intended? So Judd, here's a little plastic ball, Judd, and he's done the test. I said, can you hit that ball, Judd, into that black pocket? And guess what? Even though he cued right to left, he hit the white into the pocket. He hit where he intended. So
Yeah.
even though it doesn't look textbook, even though he addresses with right hand side, even though he cues right to the left and even moves his head, he's still
I mean-
very, very accurate. He's very
Yeah.
accurate.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
I'm not necessarily a big believer in you have to hold it this way, you've got to stand like that, you've got to do all these things.
yeah.
You've got to find what works for the individual.
I think you and Angles would get on very well.
Me and Alan, we've done quite a few BBC things together,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
I think that's where I saw you demonstrating the balls. It was
Yeah.
during an interval of a BBC tournament.
That was with Alan, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And the guy with the big hair.
Oh, Ramsey, yes.
Richard
Yeah.
Cassell's name. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good kid, actually. He's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Alan's he's very knowledgeable. He's very good. We have some very interesting conversations.
I would imagine so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, Chris, well, thank you very much for joining. It's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Listen, thanks for inviting me on, Graham. Nice to see you guys. Canada, Northern Ireland. Good to
Thank
see
you
you.
very much.
Not my lady here saying hello, by the way. She is.
Hello. Come
Hello.
on, Michelle.
Hello. Hello,
How
you
are
all. You okay?
England, Canada, Northern Ireland.
Really?
Yeah.
Belgium.
This is a Belgian lady.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
She plays
She's the
snooker
reason I'm in
herself.
Belgium, by the way. It's her fault.
She's a snooker player herself.
No.
No.
She's a snooker fan, but she's not a snooker player.
When we were
Okay.
dating, yeah, he asked me out and for American or snooker.
We had a game of pool when we went out one of the first times.
I was always standing there with you. And then on purpose, he lost a frame to give me a frame. But,
She closes one eye with his mouth now. She's like this.
Yeah.
You let her have a frame on purpose.
Of course, mate. You know,
yeah.
that's how you get your own way, isn't it? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
28 years together.
28 years we've been together.
Congratulations, guys. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't congratulate us, mate. For God's sake.
Don't encourage it. No.
Listen, guys, great to see you.
I'm
We'll do
good.
it again sometime.
Good to see you, Chris.
Great
See you
stuff.
later.
All the best. Take care.
And you guys.
Bye.
All the best. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Wow, that was very good. Very entertaining.
Brilliant. Thanks, Chris.
That was
We've got lots to cover tomorrow, I think. Well, actually, on
So-
Saturday.
So, Chris is just got to press leave. I think he's got to press the. He's got to press the.
I'm trying to press leave. I don't know where the damn thing is.
This is live TV, guys. It's amazing.
Hey, yeah.
Oh, hi guys. Right, I'm going to press red.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
all right. There we go.
So there's Chris gone. Yeah. So fantastic. Wow. Great. I've
No.
just had a brilliant hour there. Really good, uplifting stuff that was.
Yeah, that was superb.
Yeah, so we'll just take you through before we go the WST Pro Series that's taking place tonight. We've got a few games. Robbie McGuigan against Ben Wollaston. We've got Noppon Saganum against Riley Parsons. David Grace against Jordan Brown. Oh, Jordan Brown, yeah, David Grace there. And Figueiredo against Fergal O'Brien. This
Yeah.
Group F, Scott, isn't it? And
Yes,
Wollaston-
Group F.
We think,
Um,
well, Wollaston's already through, isn't he?
Yes, Wollaston and probably Sandcam next.
Yeah. Do you think, Mike, Saganum against Figueiredo and O'Brien and Parsons, they're the ones that could possibly go through?
Yes, San Cam, I would say, should. But, I mean,
Well, bear in mind they're only best of threes.
yeah, the distance is it's really a coin flip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we think Figueiredo? Okay, let's go through the predictions. Do you think Figueiredo will beat O'Brien?
No, I'm going Fergal there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go
Yeah. Brown and Grace?
I'm going to go Jordan, I think.
Yeah, I'll go Jordan.
Jordan Brown. Yeah.
Yeah, Saganum against Parsons. You'd have to say Noppon will win that.
Not Paul will win that, yeah.
Yeah. And Wollaston and McGuigan.
Wollaston.
Yeah. So
Although McGuigan is Mark Allen's stepson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there you go. So I think three. What was it for a win, Scott? Scores
3 points for a win,
Three.
none for a loss.
None for a loss.
None for a loss.
Oh, all right. Okay. I think
And
they do like our prediction table where they put one off you.
and I'll just explain the format.
Yeah.
You have how many letters, how many groups have you originally?
What in this series?
Yes, how many groups are there?
Okay. So we've got Group G. We've Group H. It's like a World Cup almost, isn't it? Group I, Group J, and that Group M, Group N, Group O. Geez.
O and P.
Okay, we go to Group P.
So A, how many letters is that?
Oh dear. Can you tell me, Mike? Do you know?
I
D E F G H I J K L M N O P. Is it 16? 16?
Yeah, 16 groups of 8.
There you go. Yeah.
And then there'll be 32 players left.
Yeah.
And then they're divided into 4 more groups of 8. And then
Yes.
the winner of that the winners of that set of groups play the final group, and then the final group winner is the overall champion.
And if people want to watch this tournament, Scott, where do they go? Where is it on televised?
The Matchroom.live streaming service.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, just to let you know, guys, before we go, we've got tomorrow Jamie Barrett on from 6 o'clock.
Yes.
Back to our normal time tomorrow. Yeah, he'll be on for a chat. And then on Tuesday, Mr. Dave Hendon. And I know we're so excited, guys.
Oh, absolutely. Should be great.
We'll have to brush up on a couple of questions for Dave, all right?
Oh, yes. Well, I just want to say thanks tonight. Thanks to Chris Henry, of course.
Yes.
And
Chris?
thanks to his good lady for letting him talk to us, of course. So, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, just wonderful night, guys. Thank you. Great episode.
Best episode yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
before Dean Henton, of course.
And of course, with Gareth Allen as well. Let's not forget Gareth. He came
Tremendous.
into the chat. Yeah. So we'll see you tomorrow for Jamie Barrett.
Yes, indeed.
See you later, guys.